Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning. So hope all of you and your family is fine. Today we will be dealing with the theoretical aspect of social security, all the X and other things I told you on the last turn. But I'll not show any slide today, right? Basically, social security, if we have got to define, we define social security as measures of cash and medical relief organized for the victims of defined economic and biological contingencies. I'll repeat it. This definition is by N. Hassan, who wrote a book on social security. He happened to be the senior most teacher in our department, the builder of the department. Repeat that definition. Social security may be defined as measures of cash and medical relief organized for the benefits of victims of defined economic and biological contingencies. Now, if you go deep into this definition, what we find is that in the first place, it provides for cash as well as medical relief. Either of the two can be given, or either of them can be given, or both can be given. So the first characteristics of social security is that it is a provision for cash as well as medical relief, and either of them can be given to the victims. The second characteristics is that the benefits are paid as of right. It is not a dole. It is not a charity. It is given as of right. Now, when it is given as of right, once the beneficiary qualifies for the benefit, it cannot be denied to him or her. Right? Now, third characteristics is that social security benefit is paid by way of relief. Now, once you use the word relief, it cannot be paid in full amount. It is only a part amount which will be paid. But one thing is certain, that any scheme of social security requires or envisages participation by the state as well as by the members who are going to be the beneficiaries. Now, there are various constituents of social security. Before I go to the constituents of social security, let me tell you one thing, that the first security that we get, apart from the institutional measure, that the definition that I've given you, the best security is from the family, right? It is the family system which provides you the first social security. Now, institutionally, we find that joint family system has been the oldest institution of group insurance. The earnings of the members of the society are pooled together in the family exchequer. Now, this has been in practice in India for a very, very long time. In some form, it is still alive in the joint family. Everybody, whosoever earns, it is pooled together, and those persons who are not earning will not be deprived of. They are also sharing that. So this we consider as the first institution. The other measures would be that almost all religion is one such institutions. So you have got, say for example, Christianity, you have got that measure of what we find. We also have, in India, we all know about langar system. Today we hear of oxygen langar. by the Sikh of Indian community. Similarly, if you look at Islam, we have social security system, well-defined social security system in Islam, where we have voluntary charity, that is sadaqah, the zakat, we have batul mal, all are part of the social security system. But institutional measures for social security that came into existence were started after the Industrial Revolution, where workers became vulnerable to contingencies. Therefore, the English Poor Law may be said to be the first institutional effort made for containing the spread of destitution. But history was made in 1878. I remind you the date. History was made in 1878 when Otto von Bismarck of Prussia, then it was known as Prussia, enacted the Employers' Liability Act in Prussia, which became part of Germany later on. So it is Bismarck of Prussia who enacted the Employers' Liability Act. A contributory sickness benefit scheme was also introduced in 1833 by Bismarck. However, conscious planning began with the establishment of ILO that was set up in Geneva in 1919. It helped in the standardization of the social security practices all over the world, although attempts were made in the US and Netherlands by passing acts, and the same was followed in countries like Canada and other countries of the world. In India, it all started in 1942 when a committee was constituted under Professor Agarkar, and he suggested the measures of social security in India. Right? Now, coming to the social security constituents, what we find that the constituents of social security are three, that is social insurance, social assistance, and allied schemes or allied services. So the constituents I said are three: social insurance, social assistance, and allied services. What is social insurance? Social insurance is defined as a scheme that provides benefits for persons of small earnings granted as of right in amounts which combine the contributive effort of the insured with subsidies from the employer and the state. I'll repeat this definition once again for your benefit. Social insurance is defined as a scheme that provides benefits for persons of small earnings granted as of right in amounts which combine the contributive effort of the insured with subsidies from the employer as well as the state. Right? Now, we have seen in the Act that if 1 rupee is contributed by the employee, 1 rupees 50 paise will be contributed by the employer, and the combined amount of 250 equivalent will be contributed by the state. Thus, social security scheme or social insurance protects persons of small earnings. Historically, it provides protection to industrial workers. Right? Just hang on for a second. Just 1 minute, please. Just 1 minute. gas man was there. Right. We were talking about social insurance, and we tried and look at the definition of this social insurance. And we said that social insurance protects persons with small earnings, and historically it provided protection to industrial workers. Why it is called social? It is called social because it involves the collective efforts of the beneficiary, their employers, if any, and the state. It is insurance because the beneficiary has to pay contribution before he is entitled to receive benefits. Now, the payment of contribution is not compulsory for all covered population. This is one exception, that the payment of contribution is not compulsory for all covered population. Exemptions are given to persons earning below certain limits, which is prescribed and revised from time to time. The second scheme that we have is called social assistance. Now, social assistance is a device organized by the state for providing cash assistance and medical reliefs to such members of society who cannot get them from their own resources. So the second constituent we said is called social assistance, which is a device organized by the state for providing cash assistance and medical relief to such members of society who cannot get them from their own resources. So all the government schemes of providing midday meal, Vridha pension, or other types of benefits that is organized by the state that we have seen in the last class is basically covered under social assistance, which is part of social security. Now, if you look at social assistance and social security as to what are similarities and what are the differences, we find that both are social in approach and are organized under a law passed in this behalf by the states, individual states. However, there are certain points of differences as well. Now, social insurance is run by tripartite contribution. That contribution we mentioned is by the individual beneficiary, the employer, if any, and the state. Whereas social assistance is financed by general taxpayers' money, and therefore it is organized by the state. Social assistance provides minimum subsistence, whereas social insurance looks at the minimum standard of living while making the payment. Similarly, social insurance ignores incomes and means, whereas social assistance takes incomes and means into consideration. So these are basically 6 different points of difference that is there. Now, the third scheme or third constituent is the allied services or allied schemes, where we have got mutual benefits scheme that is being run as far as the state is concerned. What are those mutual benefit schemes that we are talking about? What are those? See, what we find is that mutual benefits scheme basically has got a large number of schemes that gets together, and we run under this particular system, which is called mutual benefits scheme. Those schemes which are organized for keeping the price of labor high, right? And that was organized in Britain in order to protect the workers, which are known as friendly benefits scheme, where money was pooled from those who were earning, and some members of society were not to work. Why? Because if everybody was going for work and the supply of labor were higher than the demand, then what we find is that this benefit will not be reaching them, and therefore it is given to them as the allied schemes. Now look at the contingencies. Look at the contingencies that we are looking at. What are the contingencies in which these benefits are paid? Right? Now, these benefits are paid even for the allied schemes of that is financed by employer financed scheme. There are some called employee financed scheme. All those were part of it. What are different contingencies that we are talking about? What are the contingencies? Which is important to know. What are the contingencies? Anybody who can tell me what are the contingencies that you envisage? Anybody? Anybody who has heard of the contingencies in which social security benefits are payable? Hello?
No, sir.
No? Oh my God.
So some kind of emergencies?
Some kind of emergencies, yes, but that is slightly vague. See, sickness is one contingency that all of us face at one time or the other. Do you agree with that? Sickness? Sickness is one of the contingencies. Then for a female member, apart from sickness, the maternity is a contingency. Similarly, occupational risks are contingency for everybody. Invalidity is a contingency for everybody. Unemployment is a contingency for a small number of people. Old age and retirement is a contingency. Everybody who enters employment will get separated from employment, and if they are not dead, they superannuate, then they will be old age, and retirement is one of the contingencies. And there are other smaller contingencies as well. Now, how sickness is a contingency, and what is the amount of payment that is being made for sickness as social insurance? See, sickness is that contingency in which the employee abstain from work on medical grounds by an acute condition due to disease or injury requiring medical treatment or supervision. It is called temporary total disablement. I'll repeat this. Sickness is that contingency in which abstention from work is necessitated on medical grounds by an acute condition due to disease or injury requiring medical treatment or supervision. It is called temporary total disablement. That is, a person is temporarily invalid to work, but it is not permanent, but it is complete disablement. He cannot work. The position is that a person facing this condition will be paid 56 days of wage. How many days of wage? For a maximum benefit is 56 weeks of wage at the rate of 50 to 67% of average wage earned during the last 3 years, right? So 56 days of wage will be paid to them at the rate of 50 to 67%, depending on number of years of service of that particular individual, right? Now, there are certain qualifying conditions for it. The conditions are that beneficiary must have worked for a minimum number, must have paid a minimum number of contributions. That is one. Second condition is that they will not be paid any benefit from 2 to 7 days. So that is called waiting period for the first 2 days or first 7 days, depending upon what has been agreed to by the employer and employee. They will not be paid any benefit, but from the 8th day or 3rd day, they will be paid 56 days of benefit thereafter. Right? So we have got 56 days of wage, which is average calculated for the last 3 years of wage. Then we said maternity benefits, which are there. Maternity.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, is there any difference between paid medical leave and this insurance?
See, paid medical leave is an entirely different thing. That is called half pay leave. Okay? That is meant for all employee irrespective of their salary levels. Whereas Social Security benefits has envisaged a maximum amount of earning to whom this money will be paid. In certain cases, it will be paid for higher amount as well. But half pay leave is different altogether. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
It is paid 50 to 67%. Half pay leave is only half pay. Right? And half pay leave can be converted. So if somebody has earned 500 days of sick leave, he can convert that or assume that leave, otherwise it will lapse. No encashment will be done for this. Now, maternity is the period worked. Initially, the act was passed in 1961. We will go into the details of this act. And the entitlement was that a lady worker must have worked for 80 days during the last 12 months to become entitled for it. This act was amended in 1989. Only 6 weeks after confinement was allowed. Now 12 weeks full wage is paid. Notice of claim has to be given. Now here just see, maternity benefits are full wage that is being paid. It is not half a wage that is paid, but it is only for 12 weeks. Any side that was there after 1989, miscarriage or pregnancy related illnesses, 6 weeks of leave is allowed under this particular act. A medical bonus of rupees 250 was allowed as per the original act, which has increased to 1,000 now. Nursing break of 15 minutes, 2 nursing breaks are given until the child reaches the age of 15 months for feeding those children by the mother. Failure to pay maternity benefits, there was imprisonment of 1 year to the employer and a fine of up to 5,000 could be imposed. So this is another contingency which we called as the maternity. The third contingency is occupational risks. Now, occupational risk basically is defined as traumatic injury or disease arising out of employment. Traumatic injury or disease arising out of employment, which we call as occupational risk. Now, there are 5 different conditions when benefits are paid. When people are temporarily disabled, when there is a permanent disablement, but it is partial. There is permanent total disablement when it is paid. If there is a death or the dependents will get the benefit, and there is medical condition, when medical benefits will be paid for any of the above conditions. So these are basically the occupational risk, and the payment for occupational risk is also at the rate of 56 days wage, as in the case of sickness. But if it is permanent disablement, then this benefit will be paid for life. That is until the person reaches the age of superannuation. Thereafter, he will get the pensionist benefit if employed before 1994. So before 2004. Then invalidity is the fourth contingency. It is chronic incapacity to work gainfully. This is when a person fails to make 2/3 contribution of his normal earnings before invalidity. It can be caused due to old age. It can be caused due to incurable industrial accident or disease, or it can be because of the nature of employment, that a person reaching certain age cannot really work and becomes invalid for that particular work. The qualifying period to get this benefit is 5 years, and generally the individual invalidity is there after 5 years, then they are paid. The rate of benefit is equivalent to the sickness benefit that we have mentioned. Then old age is also there. Unemployment is yet another contingency. We said beneficiary must be ordinarily employed and hence a victim of temporary layoff. Usually a 52 weeks contribution is required from the employee before they become entitled for the benefit, and that the contribution condition within a specific time period is minimum laid down under these schemes for benefit entitlement, and the benefits is given is 15 to 26 weeks of wage, not 56 days, 15 to 26 weeks of wage at the rate of sickness benefit. Then old age and retirement benefit we have is the sixth contingency. Old age is a bioeconomic contingency. Now we are using the word bioeconomic contingency. It is biological in origin and economic in consequence. No benefit is paid of service for less than 5 years by any employee, and it progressively increases the amount that is there. Cash benefit is paid till death. Under fifth pay commission, they said the period was 62 years for certain job, and for other jobs it was 60 years. The sixth pay commission increased that period to 65 years for certain jobs and 60 years for other jobs. Now family pensions are payable to the spouse and minor children or dependents, that is dependent parents. It is calculated on the basis of 3 to 5 years of average last pay drawn by the employee, and that benefit is paid as the retirement benefit that we talk about. The person is paid for his lifetime, and if the person no longer remains alive, his dependents will be paid, and dependents we define as wife, legally born children, parents who are dependents on the employee, divorced unmarried girl child above the age of 18, divorcee daughter for life until she is married the second time, and this is the benefit that people get. Then there are medical care. Insured population is provided with the following types of cares, that is general treatment, that is preventive treatment, maternity pre and postnatal care, indoor patient treatment, and ambulance facilities, specialist services that is provided, and this is by the ESIS hospitals or district hospitals. Other contingencies are family allowances, that is midday meals, old age assistance schemes, unemployment assistance, rehabilitation and physical handicap, where 3% quota in jobs are there as per the Act of 1958, and population covered are ultimate objective of comprehensive social security is to provide protection to entire working population and at a larger level to entire population of the country. So this is as far as your social security scheme is concerned, which is the theoretical background and the contingencies that is covered. I'll continue with social security, which is given under the Workmen's Compensation and Maternity Benefits Act tomorrow. Thank you.